You know, they often say, don't they, that those people that you work with, you do have to be very careful of. And I've worked in a business for many years where, what's the word you might say, the smile with a dagger, that sort of thing. Whoever says you've performed well, sang well, got the laughs, whatever, always be very, very hesitant, because behind the scenes, they're normally the ones that are plunging the knife in the deepest. And as I say, I've worked in show business, entertainment and journalism for a very long time. So nothing is truly new. But the bigger problem is when you start a job, particularly like this man, that's right, Josh Kettler, well, he would have thought that, he'd now hit pay dirt. He'd been in the industry a while and things were literally coming up. There he was working for one of the most famous couples in the world, even though they were most derided, that's the problem. When you're derided like that, you have to think, well, what can I do? But clearly he felt he could. But what's interesting is there's always somebody behind the scenes, as I say. And could it be Dora the Destroyer? As ever, let me explain. Morning, nice to see you. Thank you so much as ever for your time today. You all right? I love seeing a black cab, don't you? It's lovely, isn't it? When you just, yeah, the original ones. I don't like the new modern ones. I know. You see, the original one's a little bit bulky and all that, but you felt you're in a London black cab. Now it feels like a plastic time capsule, and I feel sorry for the black cabs because they're so expensive. A new one anywhere from 48,000 to 65,000 for all the things that the council have now instructed you have to have. Madness, isn't it, when you think we just want to be travelled from A to B. Now, some people might say that that could have been the easiest of jobs, of course, for none other than this brand new employee for the Archwell Foundation. Oh, it all started off so well a couple of months back. Great fanfare and the usual, cakes and coffee in the office of Archwell and everybody. It must be such fun, though. It must be like a comedy series, because you must be looking around wondering whether they should, of course, get a cushion with their name on it or something, because clearly they're never going to be around that long, are they? Now, what's more interesting, and as ever we have to say allegedly, is one of the reasons why this particular and other staff feel it's very hard to continue to work under the regime of Harry and Meghan and the way that they operate, which is seemingly very chaotic, just jumping on any single bandwagon after another. That is the problem. They never stick to a plot long enough. We've seen it time and time again. The jams, and it's this, then it's a tour, that everything is just chaotic. And of course, if you're working with them, you can never have a strategic plan. That is what the key factor is in publicity, marketing, branding. You follow something through. Clearly, they never do. But according to a very well-placed source, this particular individual felt it very disconcerting that even phone calls, private phone calls, situations like that where he was doing deals behind the scene, miraculously found their way back to Madame. That's right, Madame Meghan. And then they would be hauled in and discussed, and he couldn't understand it. And apparently, according to that source, were phones bugged as the wiretaps, anything like that. And I'm not suggesting for one moment that that is the case, but one has to speculate. But according to that source, who also worked there for a very short period, actually, many people believe it could be this particular individual, Mama Doria. That's right, a frequent visitor to the mansion, if not there permanently, and more importantly, always, shall we say, hovering in the background. Now, some might say she's out there to protect her daughter and, of course, Prince Harry, listening out for all the negatives, perhaps deals, all of that sort of stuff. There's always two sides to a story. But apparently they could not cope with this anymore, because seemingly if you say anything off kilter, it gets reported back, presented in a negative light, and then you have to explain yourself. And if it isn't sufficient enough, then Madame gets very angry. And we know what happens when Madame gets angry, right? Neil Sean in the very heart of London.